Hi, I'm Dr. Carrie Cramp. I'm very pleased that you could join us here at Loyalist College for our Facebook Live session where we're here to discuss our Cannabis Applied Science program. Let's get right to it. We are here and we are now going to enter our Applied Research Center for Natural Products and Medical Cannabis. Please come in. Please note this is interactive session, so if you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to let us know and we'll address them to the best of our ability. If there's something that I can't answer for you tonight, please check back. We will find the answers to your questions and we'll get back to you with the answers. So I'm going to get started with the program and we'll go from there. So this is an exciting time to be in this industry. Where we start for this particular program is a foundational point. There's a Navigating Cannabis Regulations class, and this is especially important if you're interested in a career in the sciences, especially related to cannabis, because from a regulatory framework, you need to know where you're at. And what this course does is it looks at the regulations from a municipal level, provincial level, federal level. And again, particularly relevant because in October there'll be new amended regulations coming out as it relates to concentrates, edibles, and topicals. Once we are able to provide this base knowledge to you for this particular course, we move forward to cannabis biology and cannabis chemistry. One of the key concepts and the key aspects of this course, this program, is hands-on. So within cannabis biology and chemistry, you'll be conducting hands-on activities with cannabis, with hemp, and to increase your understanding of it and to recognize how to work within that regulatory framework. And again, as I mentioned earlier, this sector is dynamic. There's a lot changing. Technology is key, and industry that are going to succeed are going to they're excited about that technology, and they're very interested, as the feedback that we've received from them, in students that are experienced in working with the technology. Let me introduce you to one piece of equipment which is highlighted in our extraction science course. And this is Supercritical CO2 Extraction. This is one of the gold standards for the industry. Right now, a large emphasis is on this particular technology, Supercritical CO2 Extraction, because it's clean, it's green, it's innovative. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done to understand how to provide an efficient extract that can be used in further product development. So here's an example. This is our MV10, so it's a multi-vessel extractor. There are 35 milliliter extraction vessels that we use, and if you'll note, there's space for 10 of them. And so within this course, what we're able to do is we look at different parameters, temperature, pressure, which allow you to find more effective, efficient ways of performing extractions. And it's really important because there's not just one technology for this particular application. We look at ethanol extraction as well. It's important to look at across the board advantages and disadvantages of different approaches to product development. And that's one of the parts of this course, is looking at the technology, understanding the technology, and being able to apply it. One of the other areas that we emphasize is critical thinking. Is here you'll have an introduction, how can we do this better? One of the points that I'd like to bring up at this stage is that we started looking at supercritical CO2 extraction in 2004. We started with a single 100 milliliter vessel. As you'll know, working within this sector, hopefully in your future, you'll know that industry is demanding. There's a lot happening, and you want to work smart and you want to work effectively. So this one single vessel was our bottleneck. We couldn't provide the results fast enough. And as a result, the college has had some fantastic support in supporting this lab, in the sense, in addition to the college, there's been provincial and federal agencies that have supported making this facility state-of-the-art. What I'm trying to say is the equipment is is amazing. You'll be working with equipment that industry sees as the next step. And this is important because part of our vision for you as a student, this program, our Applied Research Center in general, is for this to be an innovation hub. And we've worked really hard to make that happen. And the feedback that we've received from industry as a result of the steps that we've taken has been great. So that's a little highlight of our extraction class. Again, big focus on CO2 extraction, but also ethanol extraction, in addition to other extraction methods. Moving downstream, because technology is extremely important in this industry, I'm going to move over to our chromatograph. Analytical testing is very important in the sense that quality, consistency, and safety, key factors moving forward if you're going to be successful in this industry. And so what we're able to do is, when we make our way through and when we're teaching students about the downstream processing, how to make the value-added products, we not only look at the process of how do you perform these extractions, but what exactly are you extracting? So if you're looking on here, what we have, this is a chromatogram looking at different cannabinoids. So you'll hear a lot of talk about THC. You'll hear talk from a medicinal perspective about CBD. We'll be using advanced technologies to look at what is present in either dry cannabis material, concentrates, extracts, edibles, and how much is present. And again, this information is important to advancing the industry. And this is an example of a skill set that you'll be provided with upon graduation of this particular class. So I've talked about our extraction class, a little bit about our analytical testing. I do want to ensure that there's lots of opportunities for questions. So I will remind you just to please let us know, post comments, let us know the questions. I'm going to continue to talk about the rest of the classes just because it's exciting and I kind of want to wrap that aspect of this up. But again, write those questions down, let us know, and I'll take a break in a couple of minutes and do my best to answer them. So next on the docket would be cultivation. And again, cultivation and tissue culture. There's also a course that looks at that. And we've got subject specialists come in to introduce that particular area. In addition to that, there's product development and formulation. With so much work being conducted on next generation products, formulation is an area of emphasis for industry partners. They're looking for students that have experience in this particular area. And when I talked earlier about us bringing in these subject experts, here's an excellent example of this. We have Dr. Monica Villepando. She taught in our program last year, a pharmaceutical chemist, fabulous cannabis background on an international level. And she'll take you hands-on to work with formulation of various products. We look at product design and optimization. Dr. Marcus Rogan, again, one of the top 30 under 30, coming in and talking to us about design of experiment and how teaching you the skills that'll enable you to go into industry and have an impact. And that fairly well wraps up a lot of the coursework that you take within this program. Two areas that I'd like to highlight here would be within the program, we do our very best to provide you with that real life experience. So industry in this sector have been extremely supportive in providing us with behind the scenes tours. So there are at least 4 tours that you'll go on as part of this program where you will be able to see cultivation right in front of you, the extraction, the formulation. And another area that we focus on is keeping this real and highly relevant, and bring in and invite industry professionals to come in and talk to you specifically about questions you have and in preparing you for the career. And not only is this extremely informative for you as a student, but from a faculty and a teaching perspective, what this enables is it's a reinforcement tool that we are moving in the right direction. And so that's fun. I see I've got some question here. How many students get jobs from their placements? Okay, I'm going to start here with the placement. So once you wrap up the courses, there's a work integrated learning, aka placement. It's 4 weeks, it's 35 hours a week, and by the time placement, the applications wrapped up, we had more placement employers, industry that wanted our students than we had students. Okay, that's a good thing. That means that they are looking for our students. And if you look at the amount of students that received jobs in the area where they were looking to specialize in, it's been fantastic. Not only have they been highly successful in getting the positions in the industry, but the employers have been very vocal in letting us know. We have formal feedback as well, but in just giving us a call and saying, this is working out extremely well. When are you having, when is the next group coming out? And how can we learn more about the program? And they want to know, we want to be involved in this placement again next year. So lots of jobs from these placement opportunities. One of our students that was just back in visiting just before this experience that we're having now, there were 2 companies actually, and she had the opportunity to choose. She's now going to be a quality chemist. We have students that are going out and being formulation chemists, extraction technologists, students that are working in software related to the cannabis sector. So lots of exciting career opportunities. And I've got a whiteboard here. I'm just looking at keeping up with some of the questions. So I'm going to go to another question here. Would a person with a biotechnology health degree be able to get into the program? Okay, great question. So this leads us to prerequisites. This is a post-grad certificate. So if you're interested in this program, you need to either have a degree in the sciences or a diploma, a 2 to 3 year diploma in the sciences. It'll be looked at specifically because you do require a certain amount of laboratory experience, but in most cases, a degree or diploma in the sciences will put you in a good position to apply for this program, and I would encourage you to do so. We've had a really diverse, the first cohort that we had last year, diverse students from their backgrounds in terms of, we had a medical doctor, a geneticist, we had an environmental technologist, a biotechnologist, a nutritionist. And what was really interesting is the dynamic that this created for the class. At times it was really challenging, but as the close-knit group grew over time, it was exciting to see how these different perspectives came together, and the group work and some of the results, the projects at the end were, it was really rewarding to see that. I'm just going to look over my shoulder for another question. Okay, that's direct. How much money can I make? So again, this is a sector that has some tremendous opportunities. So from my perspective, I would not say a specific number. I think there would be an expectation that there would be entry-level career positions in the 40K range. However, depending on your background with this specialized postgraduate certificate, I would expect, and I can say that certain students that have graduated from this program are in the 70 to 80 range, and they have achieved supervisory positions. So that's good news for the program, but again, depending on what you're looking at, it may be specific to science, or you may choose something peripheral, like communications or marketing or project management. There's lots of opportunities. I'm trying to think if there's any more questions. Okay, so let me check the time here. I'm trying to think what else I can say. If I was a student, lots more questions, we're just lining them up right now. If I were a student, what other questions would I ask? So we've talked about prerequisites, we've talked about career opportunities, maybe some examples of some of the activities that you do within the labs, or some of the tours, or some of the guest speakers. Let me talk specifically. So guest speakers. One of our very first guest speakers that we had with our cannabis regulations class was Eric Costin. And that was fantastic because if you look up Health Canada, he would be the director of the Cannabis Secretariat, which is massive. And it's important because we communicate with our students in terms of the regulatory aspect, the steps that you need to take. So some of our students were actually involved in working with consultants and organizations that were applying for their license. We've been through this process. We've had our license since 2017. And so we've had lots of experience getting to that point. And yeah, we look forward to, again, working. Health Canada has been great to work with. So we look forward to seeing where this goes and providing opportunities for graduates to be leaders. Because the way that the legislation has gone, this is an opportunity for Canada, and I really believe that we're making some strong choices as we're focusing in on the science of this. So I've got another question. I found other cannabis programs. What makes this one special? Okay. There are cannabis programs that you'll find, and you want to find the one that's right for you. There's cannabis programs that you'll see that are online. You'll see them in business. You'll see them in regulations. There are programs that focus on cultivation. What I would say what differentiates this program is technology. And in terms of the technology, from our perspective, from Loyalist, this is the direction that industry is going. This is the only program in Canada that has the hands-on applied science part of this. We're focusing on the extraction, the analytical testing. We go through experiments in cannabis biology and chemistry. We go through developing products and finding ways to optimize processes. So when you're looking at innovative, what's the future of cannabis, I believe we've hit this one on the nail. And one of the other aspects of this is that we have a great program advisory committee. We didn't develop this program in isolation. This program was developed with industry saying, this is what we need. We need you to address sector gaps. And that is what we've done. And we're not okay with just staying at that. We recognize that this sector's moving. There's a lot going on. Things are changing. For example, we're adapting our courses, and we're going to have to do some quick adaptations when the new regulations, amended regulations, come out. But we've got a little bit of a head start because we were at the roundtable for Health Canada in the direction that these were heading. So we have a good idea about where things are going. When they come out, we'll work with it, and this will be communicated to our students. More questions here, lots of questions. Okay, what is the program deadline? Okay, that's a question that I can't answer, at least right now, but what I can do is I can make sure that that is posted to the website. One of the things that you can do is at loyalistcollege.com/CSGS, you'll be able to access a lot of the resources related to the cannabis program. It takes you through the courses. I believe it will have the answers to any questions that I couldn't answer here tonight. And I believe it'll also have a link to this live session that we're doing here. So if there is something that I have said earlier that maybe triggered something, and maybe afterwards you want to relook at it and you have a question, don't hesitate to follow up. And don't hesitate, if you know someone who's interested, to tag them on this and let them know what we're doing, because one of the I guess we've had so much positive feedback. One piece of feedback that's been moderate is our ability to get it out there, to really tell people what we're doing and explain it. And when we have these world-renowned speakers come in to talk to our students, they're like, wow, this is a fantastic facility and you're doing some very innovative work. So I guess, yeah, share what we're doing and don't hesitate to ask questions. Another question, What's the cost of the program? The cost of the program, I've got an answer to it as well. We have a great team here. Lots of people that work together. $4,023 is the cost of the program. And just a reminder, it's an 8-month certificate program. So it starts in September and you wrap up in May. The last 4 weeks being that work integrated learning. Okay. Is there a university? Is there? Sorry, we've got more questions coming here. Okay. Is there a bridge program? Okay. There is not a bridge program this year, but there are opportunities. Like, I recognize that I've seen examples where, depending on your background, you can come in for a second year of a diploma. Get into that diploma program, which would allow you to transition to this course. So if this is something you're interested in, if you have a background in sciences, I would recommend talking to a registrar's office and finding out the answers to those questions. And I'll reinforce that we want to post the answer to that question online as well. Okay, another question here. What documentation do you need? And again, I think where this question is coming from is chemistry and biology, diplomas, degrees, lab work. That would be a bonus. But one of the key pieces of feedback, because I talked about the diverse students that we had in the first cohort. One of the pieces of feedback that they provided, and we have 2 members of that group on our advisory committee now, is that really getting people on the same page, especially when they come from different backgrounds. We have some mature students that have come into the classes as well, which again, I just provide that welcome perspective, and that work ethic in many cases is, okay, so where was I going with that question? Okay, so basically, would you help me with that one? Ashley, where was I going with that last question? It got erased. Pardon? Okay, so lots of backgrounds. You're welcome. Let us come in. Let's reevaluate your background. And if you're not sure, don't hesitate to ask questions. Is there financial aid available? I would say the answer to that question is yes. Again, I would consult our loyalistcollege.com/CSGS and OSAP as well. And with that, we also have support from the college that will support you through your application for that and determine whether or not you're eligible. What facilities do you tour? Oh, this has been very cool. So last semester, and again, it depends, because we have received some feedback from students. If there's a particular area that they're interested in, we really try to accommodate, because one of the aspects of the course that hasn't been mentioned yet is the class sizes. So it's fairly small. We've capped it at 20 students, and we've done this on purpose because quality is very important, and making your way through this and doing a really good job is important to us. Now, what facilities have we toured? Last year, we toured Canopy in Smith Falls. Really good tour. We were there most of the day. Mehta Farm Labs in Barrie were incredible hosts. Their extraction expertise was powerful, and what a team. They were also really supportive of having several of our placement students, and we're very supportive in hiring several of our graduates. So that's been fantastic to work with, and a lot of times that starts with a tour and starts with an introduction. Other tours that we were in Vivo, in Napanee, a local tour, and this was absolutely, it was great just because it was just down the road, and they were able to provide us a tour behind the scenes, take us through their facility. So those are some examples of some of the places that we've toured. Now, I can speak about a couple of companies that are now in Belleville. Hexo has joined our Belleville region, which is exciting, and we've had speakers, several speakers from Hexo be here either at our graduation and speak directly to our students about opportunities that are going to be presented and how they're interested in the technology, and have reinforced that this is the future of the industry. And that's really what we like to hear. Some more questions. Is there a part-time option? I don't believe there is a part-time option yet. What we are looking at is different ways to deliver the program, alternate ways to deliver the program. So I would stay posted for that, because we recognize that it's very cool to have that 8-month certificate and have that exposure to the 8 courses and the work integrated learning. Sometimes if you're industry, or sometimes if you're a student looking at a very specific area, you have a strong background, you want to just take a course in extraction or just take a course in analytics. We are looking at how that might work and what opportunities may present themselves in the future. So again, looking to work with you, so stay posted for that one. Another question here. Is there a program offered each semester or a September start? So again, right now, we've limited it to a September start. And one of the reasons that we're doing this is that we really, last year, we were ready to go when the regulations with the Cannabis Act came out. And again, making your way through that, there's new amended regulations coming out this fall, and we will incorporate that within our course and respond accordingly. It'll depend. It'll depend on you as students in terms of what you're interested in, and if we can make this work, I'd say stay posted to that one as well. So right now, September start, we'll see what happens in the future. Another question, can you receive transfer credits from other diplomas or degrees? This would be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. So again, you need a degree or diploma because this is a post-grad certificate for entry. Again, I would say yes, a case-by-case basis, there may be opportunities to receive transfer credits, but one of the areas that we really try to focus on is that whereas you're learning technologies which are transferable from a tech perspective, we are really trying to apply this specifically to cannabis. And that's what we've done. And we've done that on purpose because that's what industry has asked for. And again, the results based on our first cohort of students and our ability to make those applications and have them go into industry and be able to make that transition more readily has been very positive. More questions. What is the overall degree with this program? So what you would end up with in the end. You would receive a post-grad certificate in the end. Okay. We're just taking another series of questions. So thanks again for your participation today. Really appreciate it. Again, loyalistcollege.com/CSGS. Don't hesitate to ask questions, tag your friends, your colleagues, and to let us know at Loyalist College what you're thinking. And if you're industry and you're interested in training aspects as well, we are really focusing on having, again, big focus on education, but also in training and applied research. So looking at this from a multifaceted approach. What do I enjoy most about cannabis chemistry? Okay, a question for me. I enjoy that there's so much to learn. And I think that's one of the biggest opportunities in this. And one of the exciting aspects of this program is that a lot of times we're finding out information. We've had classes where we've set up extractions and we've got different extractions set up and we're finding answers to questions that aren't available in the literature. So that's exciting. That is changing, that it's innovative, and that science is playing such a massive role in the rollout of it. And again, I'm a little biased because I think science is where it's at, but I also like to see how we've been able to focus on the science of it, but then see how people are taking that foundation science knowledge and then applying it to these peripheral careers as well. Okay, what is your teaching methodology? Okay, good question. And this varies because we have different faculty teaching the courses. And so one of the areas that one of the pieces of advice or my thoughts on you as an incoming student for this program is that in industry, you're going to be presented with various styles of leadership. Within this program, you're going to be presented with different types of professionals that are presenting material in various ways. What we really encourage is that you're provided with that foundational theory that you're able to then apply. So again, teaching methodology, you need to know the basics, you need to know the science, the understanding behind it. However, we want to get as much hands-on as possible, working with the material, working with your techniques, and we want to even expand on that, what we're doing now. Okay, more questions. Okay. How do cannabis applied science graduates contribute to making Canada a leader in this sector? Okay, and again, I would say that science is where it's at. It's about innovation. For companies that are going to be successful in this sector, they're going to have to differentiate themselves. How do they differentiate themselves? It's by being creative and generating high quality, innovative products. And how do you make those decisions with information in front of you? Your awareness has to be there, and your ability to your awareness of the technologies that are out there. And what we do our best, what we do very well within this program is to ensure that you're aware of the technologies which are out there which will impact the industry. Not only what's happening now, but what's happening in the future. For example, whole extracts, again, very important area of extraction. But what's also interesting in equipment and instrumentation that we're investing in include distillation, isolation. We discuss centrifugal partition chromatography, CPC. We talk about supercritical fluid chromatography, short path distillation, chromatography in general. There's so many areas that this can go. I've got more of a chemistry background myself, so those are the ones I'll highlight. But from a genetics, from a tissue culture, from a molecular micro perspective, that's there as well, because it has to be a team that comes together to teach this, because the whole area of cannabis and how you're going to be successful in the future is you need to bring people together that think critically about challenges and find solutions together to take that next step. Does this program run every year? Well, it ran last year. It was a great year, and it's running this year. So that's what I can say at this point, and that's the plan moving forward. So, good question. Can I get hired in industries that are not related to cannabis? I would say that's up to you. I would say that the skills that you learn are transferable to areas outside the cannabis sector. And that's important. We're not investing in this for one particular sector, but there's a gap right now in the knowledge related to cannabis and the technology surrounding it. So yes, definitely. We've had the students that have gone through, they have been focused on a career in the cannabis sector, but yeah, the skills that you acquire, can be transferred to other careers. One of the other aspects that we do really work on in the program is not just working with equipment and running tests and analyzing results and interpreting results within science, but it's about those soft skills. Because when we're asked for references and we talk about how to prepare for an interview, we talk about working as a team, we talk about communication skills, and we reinforce activities that provide opportunities for students to practice this. Because in all honesty, this is an area where some people in the sciences need some additional work. And again, if there's a gap, if there's a challenge, we don't not talk about it. We deal with it head on. And I'd say that's one of my favorite parts about the program. It's a small group of people that are making their way through this together. And the cohort that just came through, they're their own network to a certain extent. And one person would get a job at this company and they would say there's another opportunity. So if somebody hasn't received a position yet, they're letting them know. I've had 2 companies contact me this week that are looking for additional graduates. So I'm posting it on our network site saying this company is looking for more technologists, or it's depending on the roles, depending on the cannabis company. So yeah, lots of opportunities. Is this program useful for engineering professionals? I would say sure. Certainly. Again, it depends on what you want to do with it afterwards. But when we're looking at large-scale production, is it focused on that? We definitely discuss large scale. We had Dr. Jerry King in here last year, and he's been around the world from an extraction specialist perspective. I would call him, well, so much positive to say about him. But again, yes, we talk about research scale for sure, because that's what we focus on from an applied research perspective within the lab. But when you go to industry, the scale changes dramatically. And so whereas we don't necessarily have the largest scale extractors here, we do talk about that and we do discuss scale-up considerations. One of the experiences that we had one student this year that was interested in scaling up from an extraction perspective. Now this was a competitive process, but we also have applied research projects. So projects that we're working on outside of the Cannabis Applied Science program, working on within the Applied Research Lab. And we do post for these positions, and students in programs within our cannabis science or biotech or chemical engineering can apply. So these are competitive processes where we involve industry, we involve faculty and support within the college, and we interview for these positions. And one of the ones this year involved one of our students first working on a research scale CO2 extractor and then moving to industry and developing standard operating procedures for their large scale commercial extractors. So I would definitely say this is, if this is an area that you see yourself moving into, a lot of times we can work with you to provide those opportunities. What is the scope for international students in the field of cannabis? I'm currently at Loyalist in biotechnology and would like to do cannabis courses in the future. So my answer to that would be, so you're in Loyalist at biotechnology, you've been successful in biotechnology at Loyalist College. I would expect that you could make a transition to cannabis science, providing you meet all the criteria. And I would say yes, technician technologist diploma in biotechnology should do the trick. From an international perspective, we had one international student this past year from Ireland, fantastic. And we look forward to, again, hosting students from different backgrounds, because the perspective is important in, taking this sector to the next level. And moving forward. Lots of questions. This is great. Okay, I'm going to take this one. Assessment. Oh, here's a question about assessment of credentials needed for admission is done by your own admission office, or do you ask to bring diploma assessed by a third party? Okay, so I would say that if this is something that we can do in-house, that would be our first option. If there were additional questions that we didn't have answers for, we may involve third party, but again, that's not my, that's not where I sit, so I would like to, if that's possible, answer that question afterwards, and it'll be online. Okay, but great question. Okay, so I think we have to start wrapping up here. Is that correct? There's, pardon? Okay. Pardon? Okay, so I'm going to wrap up because we're really tight on time here now. But don't hesitate again. So loyalistcollege.com/CSGS. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Really appreciate this opportunity. This is a dynamic sector. This is an innovative program, and there are massive opportunities for careers in the cannabis sector. And I feel strongly that this positions you very competitively to apply for those positions. And again, any questions, don't hesitate to let us know. Anything that I haven't answered here for you today, post on the site. And I've been directed to is this one additional question at the end? One last question. Can you see an opportunity perhaps down the road for Loyalist to offer some more specific training on cannabis, either in edibles, beverages, is the focus? Yes. I would stay posted for that. As soon as the regulations for edibles come out this October, edibles, topicals, beverages, we'll be looking specifically at that and how we can incorporate that into the program. It may be as early as the spring when the formulation and product development class is being offered, but we'll discuss that specifically with the faculty. We'll maintain an open dialogue with Health Canada, and so I can't promise the time frame in which we can do that, but yes, high on the radar because priority is highly relevant course material and activities, and that is definitely on the forefront. We are doing a couple of projects right now and discussing them where we'd be looking to work in that particular area. So the process has already started, I can say that. Okay, so we'll wrap it up there. Thank you again for your feedback. I think we're going to be heading out in this direction. Again, I'm Carrie. Loyalistcollege.com/CSGS. Lots of information as it relates to our program in Loyalist College. Any questions that we haven't answered, we'll do our best to do so afterwards. And thank you again. Really appreciate it.